Hi viewers, let's solve the question we have on the board, which reads, calculate the volume of 0.10 mole per dm cube of potassium hydroxide required to neutralize 12.50 centimeter cube of 0.10 mole per dm cube of H2SO4. So as I tell my students, if you have any mathematical problem in chemistry, the first thing you need to do is to bring out the parameters. So let's bring out the parameters. We're required to calculate the volume of potassium hydroxide. So this is the unknown. Whenever you see mole per dm cube, it stands for concentration. So we have the concentration of potassium hydroxide is given as 0.10 mole per dm cube, right? And also it says to neutralize 12.50 cm cube of this, of 0.10 mole per dm cube of H2SO4. So that means we have the volume of the acid. Okay, potassium hydroxide is the base. So the acid here is the H2SO4, hydrogen tetraoxosulfate 6 acid. So we have the volume given as 12.50 centimeter cube. And also we have the concentration of the acid. So we have the concentration of the acid, which is H2SO4, as 0.10 mole per dm cube. Okay, so for this type of question, there is a need for us to write out a chemical equation for the reaction. So equation for reaction. So we have potassium hydroxide, KOH, reacting with the acid as the base, reacting with acid H2SO4. So these are the reactants. Then the products were K2SO4 plus H2O. So looking at this equation, it is not balanced. So we have to balance this equation. So balancing this, if we had a 2 to the H2O and 2 to the potassium hydroxide, we'll see that the equation is balanced. This is a different topic on its own, which I've discussed in my previous video on how to balance chemical equation. So looking at this now, the equation of the reaction, the number of the base, that is NB. The NB in this case is what? That is NKOH, is equal to 2. While Na, which is the number of the acid from the reaction here, is that is the number of the H2SO4 here is equals to 1. Okay, so now we're going to use the formula which says CAVA over CBVB is equal to NA over NB. So at this point, all we need to do is to substitute, simplify and get the final answer. So we have the concentration, where Ca is the concentration of the acid, which is 0.10 multiplied by the volume of the acid, which is given as the volume of H2SO4 as 12.50, divided by the concentration of the base, that is concentration of potassium hydroxide, which is 0.10, times the volume of the base, which is the volume of the potassium hydroxide, which is the unknown. This is equal to Na. We have the Na, that's for the acid. A stands for acid, B is the base, over Nb, which is 2. So all we have to do here is to cross multiply and simplify to get the final answer. So this becomes 0.10 times 12.50 times 2 is equal to 1 times 0.10 times VB. So with the knowledge we have in mathematics,